simply by lying in bed with the victim unmolested, month after month, actually rejuvenates the person in power. What I'm saying to you, sir, is something that was practiced all over Africa by some of our greatest kings. The captive girls were not killed. And I wish to point out another thing, sir. May I? The people of Israel practiced this strange custom. And King Constantine the Great, the Roman emperor, who lived for well over 80 years, used to practice this custom of sleeping side by side with young virgins whom he did not, however, mate with.
He was one of the creators of Christianity, right?
Now, let me tell you, sir, there is a name for this thing. In fact, the name is also in the Bible. It is called Shulamitism. In the Song of Songs of Solomon, the male singer repeatedly refers to the woman as his Shulamit. And a Shulamit is a woman who is brought especially to rejuvenate a dying person of importance. Quote the Bible. And a woman was brought unto him, and she lay with him. But sometimes, for a parent, a mother or a father, to sacrifice his own child is an act of self-rejuvenation. I often view with a very deep suspicion the story of Jacob, of Isaac, whose father had been ordered by the Lord to sacrifice him. Remember?
Abraham.
Yeah. Was Abraham trying to rejuvenate himself? My answer is yes. Because sacrificing your own offspring releases forces within you which can actually make you young again. Now, sir, this is one of the reasons why child abuse is today so prevalent throughout the world. I have spoken many times to men who have raped their own daughters. I have spoken many times to women who have abused their own sons. And they give me the same answer. Each time I do it, I feel good.
And this would explain why so many of this Illuminati are into pedophilia. I mean, people like George Bush is infamous for it. And all over the world, phenomenal numbers of children go missing every month, more than anyone ever realizes. And surely this in some way is massively connected into this subject we're talking about. And presumably in Africa, the same phenomena of missing children goes on.
Exactly, sir, yes. At our meeting last night, do you remember the white lady I pointed out to you, saying that this is a white lady who has a great story to tell? Her name is Madam Hannah Opperman. She is the mother of a Spanish-speaking girl who was hired by an Afrikaans language magazine called Huisgenoot in order to trace several children who disappeared mysteriously in South Africa. I also was involved in attempts to trace these children, most of whom were white and some of whom were black. All these children had one characteristic in common. They were either budding psychics or they were leaders in sports and other subjects in their particular school. And they were not chosen at random. They were carefully selected by someone. One day, a white friend of mine prevailed upon me to try and trace one of the missing children. The child had been kidnapped earlier that day, and the news had come on the radio. And I was able to sit in a dark place and to concentrate fiercely on the photograph of the missing child. And I saw her being driven together with two others in the boot of a car. And sometime later, that car, which was driven by 4 men, 3 white and 1 of Hindu appearance, stopped somewhere in the veld, and the children were brought out of the boot of the car. But one of the children, the very child we were seeking, had become very, very ill because of lack of air. And this child we followed in spirit. We found her that she was being taken along a highway that goes into Natal from the north. And then she was taken along that highway until her captors reached the coast. And there she died, and I clearly saw her body being buried in sea. What happened to the other 2 children, I do not know. But I can tell you, sir, that after that, I totally refused to get involved in this terrible thing. Why? Because I had seen in visions the faces of the leaders of this satanic kidnapping of children. And some of these leaders were men whose names were very big in South Africa indeed.